I'm hungry now, I'm thirsty now. Hunger is a positive word associated with certain kind of professionals, the entrepreneurs. No significant change is possible without having innovators. And this region has real innovators, entrepreneurs that are driving it and giving it a scale and speed. I never imagined, I have been working all my life, but I know many people in the region and it's growing and growing that now is an entrepreneur. And Costa Rica is a country that is leading in the region with entrepreneurs that not only work at Costa Rica, they work, they have created entrepreneurships with global reach. They work in US, everywhere. So I'm very happy having this panel that we will be moderated by our dear Priscilla Chavez, the hub coordinator of Fairlack Initiative in Costa Rica. We have been working a lot, as you probably may see in previous sessions. And she will be joined by top entrepreneurs of the region. Alicia Chong, the founder, one of the co-founders of Bloomer Tech, Carla Cordova, one of the co-founders of Cambiatos, and Arnold Miller, uh, highly respected Tico. Tico is the person from Costa Rica that works at University of Chicago. We are going to see a very important discussion chat on the challenges, on their entrepreneurships, on the view on AI. So this will complement a lot what we already saw in previous sessions. Please enjoy.
Welcome everyone to this panel named Pura Vida Entrepreneurs. And why Pura Vida? This is a group of Costa Rican entrepreneurs. And one of the very famous catchy phrases in this country is Pura Vida, which literally translates to pure life. And we use it as an idiom just to explain how relaxed, how chilled life can be in Costa Rica. But for these three entrepreneurs, life is not chilled. They are on a mission. And for years now, they have been working on very interesting projects around technology, not only on the digital side, but also how to create technology that is ethical, that is good, and that is making an impact in the world. My name is Priscilla Chavez. I am the coordinator of Fairlack Costa Rica. Fairlack is IDB's, the Inter-American Development Bank, agency for ethical AI. And Fairlack promotes, and it began like a project, to create the methodologies that guides to support developers, innovators, entrepreneurs, government agencies to create ethical and responsible artificial intelligence, and also to teach us how to create this intelligence in a way that can impact the world. So Fairlack is a key example of how the initiatives between the public and the private sector can deliver results that are going to last for a long, long time, and that are also taking into consideration the societies and the culture where they are developed in a way that they can become sustainable. So today, you've been listening a lot about artificial intelligence. You've been hearing about its risks, biases, the opportunities, use cases, and how is it that public agencies and companies are using them. And also, how is it that the technology is developed from a technical standpoint? Now, I would like to take a break and just have a casual conversation between this group of entrepreneurs. These three entrepreneurs and I, we met a long time ago, and we have been part of a community that just keeps growing, a community of innovators, of business people, of academia, and real individuals that are on a mission to create change and to develop solutions that are going to be used by millions of people. So at this point, I would like to ask everyone to introduce themselves, Arnoldo, Carla, and Alicia, in that order, if you may. Take a couple of minutes, just talk about yourself and things that might be relevant for this discussion, and also things about yourself. I would like for this crowd, for this audience, to learn, where are you, what's your life like, And how are you dealing with this post-pandemic world? So let's start with Arnoldo.
All right, so my name is Arnold Miller. I am a data scientist by training and a coder by training. I started writing code for Intel a long time ago. And I specialize in AI and explainable AI before it was so widespread. So I decided to get a PhD in artificial intelligence in Japan and then a postdoc in Germany at the Max Planck Institute, where I applied those techniques. After that, I worked in business, implemented all those ideas in industrial applications. Very recently, I'm very focused on impact work. I'm building a wearable device, and I will tell you a little bit more about it in a bit. Thank you.
Great. And where are you based, Arnoldo, so that everyone knows?
I'm based in Chicago.
Thank you so much for that intro. Carla.
Hello, hola, Pura Vida. I'm a little bit chill here in Costa Rica, actually, but I'm Carla. I am a social communicator by training, a facilitator. So I came from the social sciences, did a lot of work in environmental sector here in Costa Rica in the nonprofit world, which is huge in the country, and did a lot of fundraising, which was frustrating all the way. And then I met, but I wanted to have an impact. I wanted to work with people, communities, local people, trying to survive and thrive and preserving nature at the same time. And then I met my now partner in crime and husband, Ranulfo. He's from Brazil. And he shared with me some ideas about money and how money works and social currencies, complementary currencies, other types of money. And that's like, blew my mind. And we mixed all of those experiences together and we built Cambiatos, which is many things. One is a software, an open source software for communities to create their own social currencies using blockchain technology. Now they can also create their own collaborative businesses, which is kind of a new type of organization. Cambiatos is also a collaborative business. So we are eating our own dog food. We are using Cambiatos ourselves. And Cambiatos is also a community, right, of people using these tools and making decisions together on how this is going to evolve in the future. I'm super happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Carla. And I adore the name that you selected for your company. Satisfied Vagabonds, right?
Satisfied Vagabonds, yeah.
Yeah.
Doing good things, cool things
about
in beautiful places. That's Satisfied Vagabonds.
Yes. What better mission than that? Thank you. Alicia.
Yes, hello. I'm Alicia. I'm the founder and CEO at BloomerTech. We're a platform, and I think we're going to talk later more about this, where we're generating digital biomarkers for women's health. My background is in electrical engineering and computer science. I did my undergrad in Mexico, where I focused on digital systems design. So a lot of hardware, firmware programming. And I came to MIT 6 years ago to do my graduate studies, and I joined the Computational Cardiovascular Research Group in a program called Integrated Design and Management, where we focused on product design and development. So like I mix these two worlds in order to use new products to successfully build digital biomarkers for cardiovascular care in women. And I am currently based in Boston.
In Boston. And later on, I would like for you to talk a little bit about how was it that you started working for this mission, because I think it's a very inspiring story for everyone to hear. So with that, you have these three amazing people that I have the honor to calling my colleagues and also my friends. This is the evidence that technology and digital solutions and entrepreneurship can be, for sure, designed in a way that not only serve the world, but also serve your life and your mission. So with that, I would like to kick it off with a few round of questions. to talk about the challenges and what have been the challenges from your own different places, right? Because in the case of Arnoldo, you've been working with the corporate and with the private sector for a long, long time. How did it begin, and where are you right now? And what would you do differently this time that you are about to also potentially launch a new project that could evolve and scale up?
That's a great question. And I think, well, offering AI at the enterprise level has its challenges. The sales cycles are very long. My first company, Sim Machines, was focused on, or is focused on explainable AI, and figuring out ways we could integrate a prediction with the user and also make sure that it's ethic and transparent, and you can trace back every single piece of the prediction to monitor, to make sure that the system is doing what it's supposed to do. That experience just involved a lot of strategy on how you integrate with different existing enterprise solutions. It's a very interesting journey. What I would do different now, and I think what entrepreneurs should give themselves the space, is to learn the customer. I think raising funds, and we did all that, raise funds, and the company was recently sold, so that was a good outcome for my career. But give yourself the space to understand the customer, find a specific problem. I think that's key. And because we are in technology, don't be afraid to do some a little bit of exploratory consulting, just to give yourself the time to learn. That is important, and that's, I think, something I would do differently. Just have more time.
I love it. And you mentioned Sim Machines. I know that you recently hit a milestone with the company, and now you're starting a new project. Can you spend a couple of minutes just talking about that transition and how it was for you?
Yeah, so after spending some time at Singularity University, I was inspired by all the impact work that my friends and colleagues were doing. So I wanted also to do some impact work. I got connected with the University of Chicago. They're building a project focused on early childhood. It's very important to interact with the child in a very intentful way, so that you develop their brains. And now I have a beautiful baby of 6 months, and all got connected. I got really interested in this because I am a father now. And now I'm building a technology that will help parents interact with their children in a more effective way. Think of it as a Fitbit for parents, so that they can talk more to their babies.
Amazing. What's the name of the project?
We're still figuring it out. The center is called the TMW Center. And right now we call it ECM, Early Childhood Metric, but that's kind of our internal geek name, but we need a marketable name.
Catchier name, yeah. All right, well, congratulations on your new baby and your new project. Looking forward to hearing more about it, yes. And then now you mentioned Singularity University, and I want to make this connection because at least for me, the reason why I got to meet all of you was through Singularity University. And the person who introduced me to SU was Alicia. So I want people to learn from you. And how was it that you started with Bloomer Tech? Because I think it was like it was born within Singularity, and then it scaled up rapidly, and now you're doing this amazing things, giving TED Talks and raising funds. So tell us more about the journey, and how was it that technology was the enabler, but also the mission was more of the aspiration?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think I had been working in the semiconductor industry for over 6 years, and I was looking at all of these amazing things that people were doing with the technology we built. So how to enable different things. That's when we discovered a program like Singularity University, where we got exposed to real people actually doing real things, right? And how they were impacting the lives of people with technology we had built. So all of this intrigued me. I went to Singularity the summer before coming to MIT, and I met one of my co-founders there. One of the things we realized was that heart disease and stroke are the leading causes of death and disability worldwide, and that for women it is still harder to recognize, diagnose, and treat. And my co-founder had actually lost her mom when she was only 12 years old, so 15 years before I met her. And 15 years later, technology was still the same, everything was still the same, nothing had changed, especially when it came to the fact that in 1993, women started finally to be included in clinical trials, right? So before 1993, women were just excluded. They couldn't participate in these trials. And that was interesting to see, because everything we do in healthcare and medicine depends on data. And
absolutely. So I was going to say how absurd it might sound that women, half of the population of the world, were completely excluded from clinical trials not until recently. So why was that, and how did you come up with that realization?
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that there's been a lot of amazing studies, landmark studies by cardiologists and researchers in the last 20 years that show that women's physiology is actually different than men's, that there's different thresholds, that we can do a lot of new technologies, of new things to early detect, diagnose, and treat these patients, things that currently don't exist. So when we look at cases like Monica's mom, like we want to prevent that from ever happening. That happened suddenly, right? Like she was a physician and no one realized that she was having a stroke until it was too late. So this is the type of thing that motivates us. We've heard a lot of similar stories now. To Arnoldo's point, we meet with a lot of women that have survived cardiac events to understand what their current process looks like, how they would use our technology in order to impact their lives in a way where they can live longer and also have better quality of communication with their physician and their own lives. So that's like where we realized we wanted to be a discrete device that can give her valuable information. And we want to be able to collect a lot of data that is currently missing, right? Because now we have all of this time to catch up. And what was the best way to do that? That's when we came up with integrating textile-based sensors into everyday clothing, and we integrated it into an everyday bra, right? Because of the compliance rates that women have in wearing the bra every day of their lives. So with most medical devices, it's really hard to reach high compliance. So we're going towards that goal of enabling that data collection, enabling enrollment in clinical trials. Especially now, you talked about the pandemic, that a lot of things are moving to be decentralized from the hospital, that we're going to do more things remotely. Like we want to build this platform that enables her to participate, to understand more her body, and to generate these digital biomarkers that can give her valuable information.
This is fascinating because you're creating a product, an everyday wearable, as you call it. But what's behind it is this immense amount of data that can be used to be able to proactively alert individuals, patients, about a risk that they specifically have, right? So how much time have you been gathering this data, and how far along are you in your vision for the project?
Yeah, so we closed our seed round in 2020, right 15 days before the pandemic was declared. So it was definitely an interesting year to scale manufacturing and production. And we've been doing that. We've been basically integrating all of the sensors that we have created, patented, and designed into this garment in a way that is comfortable, and that it's no longer, we used to do everything in the lab. Now we do it with a commercial manufacturer that it is a ISO 13485 certified, because we're going towards all of the quality certifications, right? So it's been a huge effort to scale manufacturing. We're on a good track, and we collected data from women during the pandemic in very interesting circumstances. So we've generated over 2.5 million biomarker data points so far, and we continue to find people to continue to generate to build the algorithms that we've proposed ourselves to do.
Awesome. And are you close to hitting that milestone of getting to the number of data points that you need? Are we years, like decades, still way to go, or are you close to it?
So there's a lot of things that we're learning about the woman's body, which is fascinating. I think the more we learn together, the more we understand how much it can help healthcare of both men and women. The fact that this has been left under researched. It's in terms of collecting more data, we have several indications that we're targeting, and we're continuing. I think a lot of people think that, oh, there's a lot of data already and we should scrape and clean up. And at the same time, yes, there's a lot of data, but of who does it include populations that are different, right? Because then your algorithms will only work for populations that are actually represented in those data sets. So you're going to spend a lot of time cleaning up data that might be also not the high fidelity type of data that you need, rather than generating it, right? And generating data takes time. So we're on the process.
You're on a very important and relevant mission that will take time, but you're also doing the work that it takes to represent all those different communities that are usually underrepresented. And with that, I really want to talk about the aspect of designing technology and designing the frameworks, creating the algorithms that are already thinking ahead of what the consequences might be, of what the risk might be in the future if these technologies, if these algorithms were to be used for particular purposes. And not only because I admire the work that all of you do, but also because you have a very clear objective in mind, and that objective is to generate that impact and to generate that change. And the way I'm going to switch now to Carla, the way that Carla has been working with her team and her company on creating the ecosystems that can sustain whatever platform, whatever solution is built, because it's not about the technology, it's not about the digital part, that's the enabler. The actual platform are the people that are holding it and that are making it grow. So Carla, tell us more about Cambiatos and how you're thinking about the word and the concept of community in the future.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Priyan. It's always good to have an update on good friends, and I'm happy to see how Arnaldo are doing. Fantastic. Well, I had the same experience from Singularity and from Silicon Valley and the startup world. My reaction to it, I think, was a little bit different. I said, well, this is a beautiful path. I'm not sure I want to follow the same. So we were discussing how to do it in a different way, how to create something that we don't want to sell, because we wanted to create Cambiatos as a mission, something that we want to see growing and evolving, or it's kind of a living being, right? So when you have a pet, you don't want the pet to die. Eventually, it's going to die sometime when it's not right in the future, maybe. But you want to take care of it. And Cambiatos has that vision. So we wanted to create something that will sustain even if we are not around. And by we, I mean me and my husband as founders. So we created something called a collaborative business. So the idea of kind of an evolved co-op, let's say, right? In Costa Rica, co-ops are really familiar to us. It's a group of people and they share some governance and they share some revenue out of this organization. So some decision making and some revenue. Usually when you are a user of the products out of a cooperative, you don't share the revenue and you don't share the governance. You're just using whatever this cooperative is producing. But the idea in Cambiatos is to have the clients also, the people that are using the software also as members of Cambiatos. So who are members of Cambiatos? People, the people that are creating it, developers, designers, community builders. The teams behind each of the currencies or the communities we have. We have three communities in production now, one in Brazil with more than 3,000 users, one in Costa Rica with more than 2,000 users, and a new one in Ethiopia, which is smaller. So behind each of these communities, which is a lot of people using their own currency, exchanging, using the software pretty intensely, there is a team of people that is energizing that community. And they are members of Cambiatos too. So they can vote and they can make decisions with us, and they can also have a revenue sharing out of Cambiatos. So we have been working on that last year. The pandemic year for us was a year of looking inside and how we work, and was the year in which we decided to start using our own software for ourselves. So the team and all these members, we are using the app to have our own tokens, our own currency that is helping us, rewarding people that is contributing to Cambiatos, and also people is earning this kind of reputational token that they earn every time they learn something about Cambiatos, and now they can make decisions out of those learnings. So they are learning what Cambiatos is, how it works, what other people are doing with Cambiatos, and now they can use those reputational points to vote on decisions. So we are building kind of a community, a membership, kind of a sense of belonging, and we hope that that will help the tools to evolve over time and to keep going as long as this community needs the tools, right?
Absolutely. And every time that I hear you speak, and now that you've given this update, I get a sense that we are already in a future in which governance will be dramatically different from what it is today, right? So when people are actually empowered to take action and have agency over their own futures and their own communities and the societies that they live in. And as you can see, these three different examples of entrepreneurs and their journeys are also not only taking into consideration a specific technology. In the case of Arnoldo, it is artificial intelligence. In the case of Alicia, is sensors combined with data. In the case of Carla, is decentralized autonomous organizations. But how is it that these technologies are embedded in the communities that they serve, in the customers that they were created for, or for the patients that were suffering a lack of a solution for so long? So I think this is the perfect segue, the perfect transition to probably the last question in this conversation. I would like for all of you to just think about when you started, and if there are people that are hearing us today that are inspired by this conversation, that are thinking that, yes, being an entrepreneur in Latin America can evolve into having and dreaming big and having these very ambitious goals. But where do I start? And also, what would be the number one skill that you would suggest for these entrepreneurs that are about to take that leap of faith and start their journeys? And it can be either a skill that can be learned officially or traditionally somewhere, or an experience that you would suggest for them to go through. It can be either a painful experience, because we all had our painful share of experiences while starting our projects. So let's start with you, Carla. If you have something in your mind, what would you suggest entrepreneurs to do to expose themselves to?
I will say first, build something that you want to use, and build something that you love, that you want to see in the world existing. And all the other things are going to, the other pieces are going to fit in. In terms of, when I say something that you want to use, it's something that is aligned with your values, something that is really real for you. And as Arnoldo said at the beginning, something that has a real need. And in our case, it works pretty well when we identify a network of people that already have a problem, an issue, and there are already 500, 1,000 people. And then you put on top of that already existing community and interaction, something that helps them doing that better, scale automatically, right? You don't need to create the community is there, the needs are there. You're only serving them with something that will do that in a better way. So that's our approach to scaling. Find communities that already exist, that are aligned with our values, and we build something that we want to use and they want to use, and we build it together.
Amazing. Taking note of that for myself as well. Thank you, Carla. Ali.
Lost my mouse. Yes. So I think it's in the similar line, because you have to really care about what you're building, so that when bad things happen, you don't care that much about those things, because the core of your mission is still there. I think undoubtedly entrepreneurship is full of highs and lows, and there's going to probably be more stagnation in the lows than the highs. The highs can go fast because you're always on to the next thing, right? You're always thinking about what's next. So you don't get that, like they teach you to try to celebrate your wins, but you don't get to celebrate that much because you want to go to the next milestone. So I think because of that, your mentality has to be to really care about what you're building, really care about what you're doing, so that when challenges come at you, they don't dismotivate you that much, right? And you need to have a go-to place where you can get your motivation. Like for me, if you go online to watch the videos for Go Red for Women, it's an awareness campaign about heart disease in women, and that's my go-to place when I need motivation. I hear so many stories. I've reached out to many of the women that are there, and it's a nice community to be part of. So I think if you can find, similar to Carla, those communities, those places where you really realize why you're doing matters, then you'll keep going.
Thank you. It's always great to hear that motivation, because as an entrepreneur, you're constantly bombarded by all of this different propaganda of entrepreneurship is hard and you're gonna fail more times than the ones that you're gonna make it. And like sometimes that feels a little bit shallow, but if you connect back to the communities, as both of you have said, it does really make everything worth it. Arnoldo, what's your take on this?
Well, first of all, I think technology is great, but it's just a tool. So love technology, but your project shouldn't be technology. It should solve a specific problem. And as Carla and Alicia mentioned, you need to be passionate about it. You need to understand it. And it doesn't have to be massive. It can be just a very narrow place where you start, so that you can give yourself the time. I mentioned that before. I think you need the space to do it right, to do it the best you can for that user. So that's one thing. The technology is exciting, but it shouldn't be the end. It's just a tool. Another thing that I would suggest is that when building a technology project, is like building a house. You know that if the people building the house build the wall in the straight way and the right way, you will see it and you will understand it because it's there. I recommend you, if you are not from a computer science background, learn a little bit of Python so that when you get team members that build things for you, you will look at the code and you will know the quality of the house they're building and understand what you're getting. And you don't have to do it, but it will be good for you to be able to measure what is behind the technology you're building.
This is a great, very practical recommendation, Arnoldo. And I love the way that you clarified. It's not about the technology. And I think when we are having this conversation with the private sector, it's all about the technology. It's all about the solution, and it's all about how to monetize out of it. The way that I see it is that it is truly entrepreneurship the sector that it's bringing technology to life and it's giving it a purpose. So yes, learn Python, but also, and foremost, understand what is it that you're trying to fix, what is it that you're trying to solution for, and who are the individuals, the communities that are going to benefit from that solution. And at the same time, what would be the consequences if you were to design technology that is not taking into consideration everyone that will be using it? What are the unintended consequences for the present and for the future as you're building a solution that comes from a technology or from a digital platform? So with that, I think we're up, and this conversation was already super inspiring and super triggering for me as well. I think that these three entrepreneurs not only have my absolute respect, but also they are doing amazing things. So make sure that you follow them on social media, on different platforms. And if you want to learn more about how to create solutions utilizing artificial intelligence and other technologies that are going to be ethical, be good, responsible, and be built sustainably for everyone, follow us on Fairlax's landing page on iadb.org. We'll be sharing more resources, case studies, and obviously events such as like this one that Intel is promoting and facilitating, so that you can get to know and connect with amazing people like Arnoldo, Carla, and Alicia. Thank you, everyone, and thank you very much, the three of you, for taking the time from your busy schedules to have a conversation with me. It was great to catch up.
Thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you, Alicia, Carla, Arnoldo, Pri. It was fantastic conversation. When you put a bunch of entrepreneurs together, there's always so much energy around. So that's what I love the most from this session.